I honestly I feel a little bit bad about it, not gonna lie. But the dragon deck is the best thing that came out of it. The dragon deck is just obviously a lot of very low cost burn cards. It is a red deck that is one of the best defensive strategies in a red deck, is having a lot of really early game, hey, look, your shit's dead. But I didn't stop there. I have been evolving it with all of the burn cards ever. I can pull these cards back at any point that I want by literally just creating a dragon for 1 mana using this guy. 1 mana, and I can pull back my 4 damage direct. It's just, yeah. I mean, the entire deck is very clearly centered around the idea that a dragon, or that you've found yourself sitting inside of a dragon's kingdom. Not even like just a couple dragons. This is like the entire goddamn horde of dragons. They're teamed up with Chandra, because Chandra, it's who she is. And they just lay siege to anything that happens to wander across them. Like, oh, you think you're gonna be able to play something? No. I'm sorry. You're about to get hit with like 8-9 damage direct to your creature, and then I'm just gonna pull it back to my hand in the next turn. You're not getting things out onto the field. They will melt. There are a few cases where it doesn't work out like that, but that's why they've invested in a little bit of showmanship. As you can see highlighted right here, there's this, and then there's the thrill of possibilities, and I can just pull cards into my hand whenever I want. Now, that wasn't enough. No. See, they don't want to just be able to burn their enemies. See, often I will burn through my own library to get the cards that I'm looking for, that I want now. So, Fire Prophecy, discard, draw a card. Obviously, I mean it's a nice little spell. There's also they also have special spells, by the way, to exile you into non-existence. Because when you really want something dead, it needs to be dead, and it needs to stay dead. So, yeah, there's a few of those where, yeah, it's just, yeah, you're dead and you're not coming back. I'm sorry. Bye. The one thing they really struggle with are enchantments and artifacts. Like shrines and artifacts. They can't really deal with those too well. I don't have any magic, any summons or anything like that can really deal with stuff like that. Now, I can get those cards, sure, but that's not the point of this deck. The point of this deck is to be a brute force. The only way you're going to win is if you don't rely upon things on the field. If I lose to that, alright, fine. It's frustrating because I know that I could defeat them if it were an actual fight, like if it were something that I could actually fight against. But when they're able to just burn, return, or whatever into your hand, and I can't get anything out onto the field, yeah, I mean, fair enough. That's what I do. I'll take the loss. But yeah, so And there's also little subplots that weave through my deck. So things like this, where I can discard a card to draw to exile 2 cards from my library, and then I can play them in that turn. That is amazing. That's great, because that allows me to just mow through my own deck, get the cards that I'm looking for, and then make sure that I have my burn spells that I can return to my hand in my graveyard so that I can actually use them. Now it requires me actually using them. I've actually tossed Spit Flame at my own creatures in order to make sure that it goes into the graveyard, because I can always pull it back from the graveyard. Maskwood Nexus, there's actually a bit of a funny story, and there's a reason why there's only one. Because I could have put 2 in here very easily by sacrificing something else that I didn't need. But there's only one, and it's because its purpose is very specific. See, we have our little Scorch Spitter up here. He's one of the few non-dragon creatures in this deck. There are a couple. I'm not saying that there aren't. But there are dragons as the main part of this deck. That is what this deck is centered around. It's what this deck is made for. They are the main generals, let's call them. They are custom designed to be as devastating as possible. The Shivan, it's not my favorite because I actually have dragons that are better. Sorry, Spotify just said, "Hey, I heard you were talking to me." Anyway, so the Shivan isn't really my favorite, but every so often he comes in handy because of her. Now, she is the Dragon Queen. I need to get a Dragon King, which I kind of have now with the Inferno of the Star Mounts. That is, I will count that as a queen, or as a king and queen. Look at them. They are the most adorable couple ever. Anyway, whenever I play any dragon card that is a non-token, it has to be a non-token, but any dragon that is a non-token, she creates a 5/5. Just, yeah. But I can also pay 2 red mana and give every dragon I own +1/+0. So she is essentially she is the general. She gives the marching orders. He is more of just a derp. He's a derp that might someday be useful. He has not proven himself yet. But anyway, Terror of the Peaks, of course. Every time I play a dragon, doesn't matter if it's a token or not, I take their power and deal it directly to any creature, to any target that I want, any target at all. He is like the forward assault. He's not critical, but he is to lay waste to everything and anything that comes along if he can. Goldspan funds the army. Goldspan produces the mana that we need to launch all of our spells. Goldspan can essentially create from nothing. So they finance our operations, let's put it that way. Demanding Dragon, he comes out and he says pay tribute or die. Very often I use him as a direct 5 damage to the enemy player, because as per the norm with a dragon army, they are already laying waste to everything. So Demanding Dragon comes out, pops an instant 5, and then has an entire army next to him ready to pounce. And mana cost? Mana cost doesn't matter, because I have Dragon Speaker. Dragon Speaker reduces cost of dragons by 2, and I can play both of them at the same time. So that means 4 mana removed from all of mine. My most expensive dragon at that point is Siege. Well, kind of. We'll get to him in a second. He's a new hire. Let's put it that way. Siege Dragon. And it would be 3 mana. Now that's assuming, of course, I can protect my dragons, blah 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 blah, but you know what? This is war. If they don't cut the snuff, they don't cut the snuff. But anyway, so yeah, back to this little Scorch Spitter, because I got a little bit distracted. See, he had, let's just say, big aspirations. Notice there's only one of him. Again, he's not there for anything, really. He's not a... He tries hard. Put it that way. But every once in a while, something magical happens. See, he joined because he wanted to be a dragon. He believed in his tiny little heart that he was a fierce dragon. And one day, in a earlier evolution of this deck, he accomplished what nobody ever thought he would be able to do. He took 2 Infuriates and then combined it with where are you? If I remembered the name, this would be a lot easier. I do think it was like 1 or 2. I think it's 2 mana. So that helps me narrow it down at least. Unleash Fury, that's the one. I don't have any more of those in my deck. Those got removed in a previous iteration. They're nice, they're fun. It's really hilarious to watch your 1/1 go to a 25/25 and win the day. Well, not 25/25, but you know what I mean. So, one day, he was one of a horde of dragons. He was one of the ones at the end of the game just sitting there. And the other dragon stepped back and let him show them what he could do to earn their respect. He got 2 of these, which made him into a 7/5. And then he chugged the real drugs and took another 2 of these. He became a 28/4 on a field with no enemies. And then he attacked. And he, with his 1 damage, won the day. And that was when the dragon army went and found this relic. And every so often, This little scorch spitter gets to fulfill his dream and become a dragon. He earned his place at the table. And that's the story of this deck. For the most part. There are little bits and pieces elsewhere, but that's how this deck runs. The dragons, they are going to win their way, or they're not going to win at all. And their way is burning everything to the ground. There are some spells that I could add. Things that would torch, say, land or stuff like that. But I don't want to make it unstoppable. I don't want it to be infallible. I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be devastating. I want it to be disastrous. I want everything to be a go big or go home kind of moment. You want to fight me? Bring Titans. You want to fight me? Bring Giants. Bring Kraken. Bring your 2020s. Bring your 25-25s. Let's make this a fight.